I'm the incorrect announcer, and you're listening to the Team Player Action Pants podcast with your co-hosts, Asshat and Skunk. These two scoundrels are trying to promote Action Pants, a piece of clothing which allegedly makes you run faster in team-based sports, using tiny motors attached to the top of each leg and your ball sack. Ouch! I think I'll take a pass on this one, boys.
Hello, and welcome to the 10 Pence Arcade podcast number 209, Vapor Trail. This month we are talking about Vapor Trail, which is a game with vapors and trails. How are you, mate? How you doing?
Hey, Shaun, how you doing?
You all right?
I'm good. And welcome, listeners, to the 10 Pence Arcade podcast. Good to be back.
Hey, did it
2025.
better than me, that. Sorry, I just waffled, didn't I, as normal? Yeah, 2025, a new year, a new game.
Yeah.
So,
Did you have
mate,
a good Christmas?
I did, yeah. What have you been up to over Christmas?
Oh, well, for me, it's always family, having them over. We usually rotate it every year. Either I go to my partner's family or they come here or vice versa. And this year we had them here, had my son up and his little family. My mum came Christmas Day and opened up the arcade, played some games, which was quite interesting to see. The youngsters playing the old games, always good to see
that's
that.
good. That's good, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, we had a good time, mate. Really good time. But, it's not a time where you chill. It's not a relaxing time, is it? Christmas. You're all doing something. You're either cooking, washing up, or wrapping presents, buying presents. There's always something to do. It's not like a chill out 2 weeks off, is it?
Yeah, I had similar. I had the family round for a few days. We played a couple of really good games. Check them out. Ransom Notes. Check that out. That's really funny. And Genius Square, which is kind of like a build a Tetris block as soon as you can. Other things, yeah, family around a few days. Been cleaning at the house a lot, mate.
Cleaning?
Yeah, loads of stuff to the tip. Putting up curtains. Yeah. So we've done sort of loads of stuff. We're just getting ready to put some new carpets down.
Nice. Oh, busy then.
Yeah.
How long did you have off? 2 weeks?
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Very
nice.
very long for me because we're a kitchen company, and nobody's buying kitchens over the Christmas period. So we shut on the 20th, and we opened back on the 6th, which is the longest holiday I've ever had, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you get a lot of nice presents?
I got 2 big bars of Caramac. Caramel. Oh, what are they called?
Oh, caramel. Caramac's bit niche.
Caramilk. Sorry, Caramilk.
Caramel. You like Caramac? Caramac's good.
It's similar, but it's like 2 massive bars of that. I've still got a bar and a half left.
Yeah.
Loads of chocolates, money.
Yeah.
The normal stuff. Socks.
Yeah.
I didn't get any socks.
Why is it obligatory to get socks every Christmas?
I had to buy my own socks this year.
Oh, did you?
Put them under the tree, waiting for Santa to come. Sort of forgot I'd put them under the tree. Got there, Santa's bought me some damn socks.
Wow.
Yeah.
You wouldn't buy them in any other time, would you? So
no.
Christmas is always a good excuse, and I always get loads of socks, thermal ones, which I need because I work outside. So socks are always welcome in my home, I tell you. But I got some whiskey, some nice books, and I also went to see the film Nosferatu, which is a bit different.
I quite fancy that.
Huh?
I quite fancy that.
Yeah, it is a bit different. It's a slow-paced film. But it harks back to the old Hammer House type movies of, remember old Dracula with, what was his name?
Bela Lugosi, him, first one.
Christopher Lee.
Yeah.
It's got that feel to it, and it's quite it almost feels like a black and white movie, very monochrome. It's it's in colour, but it's so gothic and very dark, which is what you need, right? And it's very cinematic, and it's quite gory in places. There was a couple of moments where I actually buried my head in my hands because I just thought I really don't want to see what's going to happen next.
God.
So there was a couple of those kind of moments, but I mean, I don't know, there was some of the supporting actors I wasn't so keen on. So, but yeah, it was a good film, well worth going to see at the cinema. But I'd give it something, I don't know, I'd give it something like a 7 out of 10, something like that.
7 out of 10 10p's.
Yeah, yeah. But it's always good to go to cinema over Christmas. I like that because it's not often I get to go to cinema. So that was really nice. And then I went to see my friend Martin and did a game room tour of his hobby lodge. Actually, that went up a couple of days ago on my YouTube channel. That was really good.
Yeah, I've watched that. Yeah, cool, yeah.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, he's well into his painting his figures, isn't he?
Yeah.
My son's done quite a bit of that as well.
Yeah, it's quite good. It's quite therapeutic. I used to love it when I was a kid. I don't have time for it now. But that's his hobby. He loves inviting his kids into his room, and they do play a lot of board games, a lot of role-playing games. But, you know, he's into arcade games and 8-bit games, the whole retro thing that we're into, basically. But his focus is more on the kind of board games and role-playing games. And he's such a lovely bloke, such a nice bloke. If you haven't seen it, guys, go and check the video out on my channel. He's such a lovely guy. We didn't have very long to film that. I only had like 50 minutes, so it was a bit of a rushed video, but I was really pleased how it came out, actually. So yeah, and then from there I went on to see my friend Scott, aka Sega Zombie. That's his YouTube channel, but he's also got a physical shop in Ipswich called the Retro Realm, where he sells, again, everything retro, video games and toys and all that kind of thing, board games, movies. And it was lovely to see Scott. I've known Scott many years, and went back to his place, hanged out for a while, had a good old chat, and then headed back the next morning. So, yeah, I've been to see a lot of friends, and I've had a few friends over as well. Had my friend Paul Buller, I've got to give a massive shout out to, because he came over to mine, not just to have a chat, but also he helped me with some of the stuff that I was trying to get sorted. Like, I've got this bit kit too, and for the life of me, I couldn't synchronize it with the app, so I couldn't get any of the games uploaded to it. I got the bit kit 2 just before Christmas, and we were really struggling to get the games on there. So I got in contact with Vic, because I know he's got the bit kit 2, and he sent me all his ROMs that he uses for his bit kit, and he knows they work. So we uploaded them, and still, even then, they didn't work. So in the end, we had to contact Crafty Mech, who designed it, and he said, yeah, we've had a few people with the same issues, and hopefully he's going to update the app very, very soon, because we really struggled to get a lot of the games on it. You know, games like Scramble, Crazy Kong didn't work, the Glob didn't work, there was a few others. I think it was really poor, really, because, you know, you buy a product and you expect it to work, you know, not to buy it and then wait for updates further down the line. You know, and I know it's a good product once it is working, because Vic highly recommends it. But yeah, I was a bit disappointed with that. So at the moment, we're just waiting for him to get back to us on this update the app, so we can download the games onto the BitKit too.
Are they all they're all vertical, aren't they?
Not all, no. There are some horizontal games on there as well. Yeah, there is. But there's more vertical than horizontal.
Right.
And they're quite obscure games. You know, you got games like Rescue on there, and Tasmania, and the Glob, stuff like that, and Lizard Wizard. Have you played Lizard Wizard?
No, but it's a weird sort of. Are you in the middle of a canyon?
Can you just say it? Lizard Wizard.
Lizard Wizard.
That's good. You got it. It's a clunky old game, but I like it.
We like the janky.
The janky, yeah, it's janky. So big shout out to Paul. Thanks for sorting that out, mate. And then the following weekend, I had my friend Adrian Purser over, and he came over with a test rig to test the remaining PCBs that I grabbed from Peter Davis's grandson, and found some really interesting games. Because a lot of these games that I had left, that I hadn't tested, I didn't have adapters for. So Adrian brought a whole box of adapters over, various companies, and we found a Fantasyland by a company called Roma.
Oh, I've heard of that,
Have you? Yeah, it's a really quirky game. There's a lot of videos on it on YouTube, and it looks a little bit like the Wardener, a little bit, same sort of gameplay. But actually, I'm really looking forward to playing and putting more time into that because it looks quirky as hell. The ender-level bosses are absolutely mad. Some really weird ender-level bosses, which I quite like. So that was quite a nice surprise. And then we found this game called Checkman, which I've never, ever heard of. And I couldn't work out how to play or anything. I just thought it was some weird boot. But on closer inspection, the ROMs have the name Zelic and Zenatone, which is the English company that went on to become Ultimate and then Rare. So that was quite an interesting find. And I sent to Vic, actually, I messaged Vic. I said, because I was going to give it to him. And he said, oh, no, that's a great game. I said, really? He said, yeah, we did a podcast on it. And he sent me a link to the one that you and him did. And I listened to it today, actually, and you got quite positive feedback on the game. So it's staying here for now, and I'm gonna put it in my jammer cab and play it some more, put some time into it. It's quite a weird looking puzzle game, isn't it?
Yeah, you've got to be so aware of everything that's going on. You've got to look a little bit ahead. It's a really good game. The graphics are not up to much, and there's only about 3 enemies. But it really once you get into the flow, it's very good.
Yeah, it's highly regarded, isn't it? Quite an interesting game. And then once we'd gone through all of those, now I can sort of suss out what I'm going to sell, what works, and I'm amassing quite a PCB collection now. And in the past, I've stored a lot of my PCBs in these boxes with anti-static foam, and got Olly to make me some nice labels up for the games. They look like marquees, little marquees on the boxes, and they look lovely, really nice, but they take up so much space. So I've had to rethink it, take them all out of the boxes, and Lee Monster Mug, who's a UK VACA, he's got an amazing PCB collection. He showed me another alternative to storing and wrapping your PCBs, and he sent me this link to this foil-backed bubble wrap, which he uses and swears by it because it just stops any interference, any static getting onto the PCBs. So I ordered a load of that. And then he sent me a video of him wrapping them up, and it was almost like origami. It was a real art. And I followed it through right to the end, and I did it a couple of times, made a couple of mistakes, but I've nailed it now, and I've been wrapping all my PCBs origami style. And I can get 20 PCBs in a space where I could only get 5 last time, and I feel a lot more better about storing them now, because when you store PCBs, they tend to drag on each other. Yeah. The legs and the chips and the capacitors seem to get knocked on each other, and this completely seals the whole thing. And I put little labels. I bought a little label maker, and I've labelled them all up so I can see every PCB that I've got now, and it's great. I'm really chuffed with it. So yeah,
put a picture on the site. Send me a picture, and I'll put it on the site.
I'll send you a picture. I'll send you a video. I did a video on it as well. So that was really cool. And then it's been a really busy after Christmas, really, because we went to the annual EAG Entertainment Attractions. I don't know, what does G stand for? Gaming Expo. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
We go every year. This is a corporate event that's been happening for 70 years. So you get all the big companies like Sega, Namco, Electrocoin, And in the past, if you'd gone there in the 80s, you would have seen Nintendo, Atari, all the big companies have done this event to showcase their latest games. And so you've got a lot of business people there, potential buyers, pubs, from the commercial side, would-be punters, seeing what the latest games are. And, you can go to this event. You just have to sign up, pretend you're a company. Write down that you're a company. I just write down I'm Al's Arcade curator and CEO of Al's Arcade, and you get in for free.
All right.
Yeah, and then you play all the latest games. But I'm telling you, this year was a major disappointment. It wasn't as big. It's probably the smallest event I've seen in a long time. You had Electrocoin, Namco, and Sega there, but you couldn't tell the difference between the three. All the machines that they had on display looked like they came out of the same factory in China. There was nothing different.
And
driving, weird, not weird, just your average gun games that are really boring to play. So yeah, it was a pretty poor show, I thought. But I mean, I'll always go to this event because for me, it's a nice way to start the year. It's a nice way to break up winter. And it's always good to catch up with my mates and have a beer, because we have a beer once we get there. It's at the XL in London, Docklands. So it's just nice to catch up with people. But what I did end up doing this year was playing a lot of pinball, Shaun.
Oh, good. What did you play?
Yeah. I played the latest Stern game, Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, is it good?
Yeah. Well, I was super excited about it because I'm a massive fan of Dungeons and Dragons, and I couldn't wait to see it. But I was a bit disappointed. I wasn't so keen on the artwork. It looked like the artwork had been drawn by AI, very generic artwork.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to see more kind of the old style Dungeons and Dragons artwork that inspired all of us back in the 80s, because the artwork was really inspiring back then.
Yeah.
And they turned the volume right down so you couldn't hear what was going on, which is an integral part of pinball, especially a game like Dungeons and Dragons where they're telling a story, and you don't know what's going on. So sort of playing it not half blind, but half deaf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
just the playing field looked cool. It had a big dragon, animatronic dragon that was moving left to right, up and down. The playing field looked cool. But, with a game like this, a modern game like this, there's a lot of depth and a lot of it's on screen. And you're getting prompted to look at the screen and then prompted to look back down at the table. But if you can't hear it, then you don't know when to look. So
that's a shame,
I was missing a lot of things. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So Stern was there then, were they, or just
Stern? Yeah. Stern. But I did enjoy playing the James Bond game. That was really good.
Yeah, I played that.
It was a bit more basic than the Dungeons and Dragons. It was more about playing the playing field and the screen, so you could play it relatively easy. And Pulp Fiction was cool.
Yeah, I played that. That's one that Tarantino had a lot of input in it, didn't he? And
Did he?
It's got an old LED display, isn't it? It hasn't got like a black back glass kind of film going on. Yeah, I didn't mind it, but I missed all the bells and whistles, because I suppose it's like an old school kind of. I think that's what he wanted, wasn't it? Like an old school kind of thing.
Yeah.
I only had about 5 or 6 goes because it was at Pinfest last year, but obviously you had to queue up for it. But it's decent. I wouldn't have said it doesn't sort of stack well, I think, with the newer games.
Right.
It's like out on its own. I think some people will like that, where it's a bit more basic gameplay, but that's like some people like it.
Yeah, I mean, I hear this argument all the time. New versus old. I mean, I don't have any nostalgia for pinball. I don't remember seeing or playing any pinball when I was a kid. So we can get rid of that straight away. So Do I prefer new over old? I mean, I like some of the new themes. I quite like the Jaws theme. I love the Dungeons and Dragons theme, but I was a bit disappointed with the actual cabinet. It didn't wow me. I wouldn't, I wouldn't spend that sort of money on a cabinet. Looking at the artwork, if I'm going to spend that sort of money on a machine, on a game, on a toy, because it is a toy at the end of the day, a big toy, it's got to be something really special. It's got to have the right theme. It's got to be a good game, and the cabinet art's got to look awesome. And I've yet to find that game. I quite like Total Nuclear Annihilation. It's quite a fast game.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that the music is themed. It's kind of like a background track to the pinball, whereas, there's a lot of pinballs that have been released of bands I absolutely love and I've seen back in the day, like Guns N' Roses. Saw them back in '87, the Marquee. But I don't know if I could put up with their music every time I play it. Do you know what I mean? It's just
there is that, isn't there? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it would probably, after a while, I'd probably get fed up with it and not want to hear it again for ages. But I think so. I think if I was to buy a pinball, it's got to have kind of like a movie soundtrack, almost like background music. So I quite like the Total Nuclear Annihilation for that. And there's a couple of others. But yeah, I mean, it's a weird one with pinball, because whenever I walk into a pinball room, I never get wowed like I do with old arcade machines.
Yeah.
There's a wow factor. Maybe that's the nostalgia for me, looking at old arcade games and just seeing the artwork and everything just takes me back to that time when I was a kid being wowed by it. I just don't get that wow feeling with pinball. But to end on this, I would say I would like to own a pinball at some point. It's just finding which one it is.
I have nostalgia for the 90s ones, early 90s ones, because they were in every pub in Blackburn. So I used to go to the different pubs, I think I've said this, and play these games. So a lot of them from that era I still really like Star Wars, Getaway, Whitewater, Dracula, all them kind of things, all that kind of era. 92, 93, before I met my wife, I was at going up and down the pubs in Blackburn, just to go to find these new pinballs, Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
Because there's one pub called the Brown Cow still going. They rotated the pinballs maybe once a month, so it's brilliant. So you could go in there and there'll be another one. So that was excellent. Yeah, so I do have some nostalgia for them.
What do you think of the new pins then?
I think they're the best pinballs I've played. Just because they're bright, they're flashy, they've got kind of a story with them if you can be bothered. But like ones I really like are like Foo Fighters, Godzilla. I haven't played Deadpool. I know I'll goes on about Deadpool. I've only played it once, and that was in one of the No Quarters in Newcastle, I think. I think it was No Quarter, or what's the other one? No, NQ64, one of them, something like that.
Yeah.
Four Quarters, I always get that mixed up. Yeah, so I do like the new ones best, just because they play amazing, and I think they're pinball that have been honed to perfection. They offer like Whitney was saying, they offer a story now.
Yeah,
I've like.
Well, it's almost like the change from from arcade games to video games. Suddenly, when you played a video game at home, it was a story, an RPG, where you couldn't get that in an arcade. I almost feel like the pinballs have done the same. They've gone from this fairly basic gameplay to a really deep RPG stroke storyline. Well, it is an RPG. That Dungeons and Dragons is an RPG with balls. It is, isn't it?
I was listening to one podcast, a pinball podcast, and this guy says, "Yeah, I've done that now. I've finished it." And I think, what does he mean? How come I've beat that pinball? And what he means is unlocked everything. Is beating every sort of level, every sort of mode, That's what he thinks. Oh, I've beat that game now. So you can beat a game like an arcade game.
Oh yeah, I've got mate Dave Ashton. He's beaten loads of pinballs, and he swaps them around all the time, which I think a lot of them do, don't they?
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm going to still reserve my opinion on Dungeons and Dragons until I think with a lot of these pinballs, you need to get them in a room on your own. It's best not to play them at events because you can't get the full experience, and you don't hear the sounds a lot of the time. So I'm still a bit reserved on it. I still want to play it, hear it, and then make my decision on the game, because it could possibly be in the future a pinball machine that I would like to own, because I like the theme.
I think in the premium one, the dragon spits the balls out of multi-ball. I don't know if he does that in the pro.
No, he doesn't. Yeah, no, I still don't know what the difference is between a pro and a premium and the other one.
About 10 grand.
Still, it's all about money, but I still don't get the incentives to do that. I mean, I guess one's cheaper than the other, but I don't get it. I mean, I've heard that you can still add bits to it, but you can do that in your own time. So you can modify a lot of these pinballs, can't you, and make them a lot better. I don't know. I mean, there's just so much money. There's such a big investment. Be hard for me to get one of those right now. I'd have to sell a lot of cabs because they take up so much space as well.
Yeah, I'd struggle. I think I'm lucky. I've got 3 arcade clubs within like an hour, and they've all got pinballs, so I can go there and play them.
You can get your fix, yeah. And one last thing. Sorry, just one last thing. Today, I've got to say shout out to my friend Mark because he finally fixed my neon light. So I've got this Defender neon light, Shaun, that's had about 3 different power supplies, all Chinese power supplies. They don't last very long, 6 months, and they just blow up. And one literally was smoking. It was that bad.
Yeah.
So he sent a link for me to buy one from America. I've got this new power supply and he's fitted it tonight and he's got it working. So I'm really chuffed because it's such a lovely neon light. I spent a lot of money on it. It's a lovely feature in the games room. So I'm really chuffed to get that working again. But you see a lot of these neon lights and they look really nice and they are really nice and they should last forever. I mean, you used to see neon lights outside back in the 80s, 70s and 80s in the rain, in all weathers. But you wouldn't dream of putting these outside. They would just blow up. They're so cheaply made, but at the end of the day, it is just glass and a power supply. So it's only the power supply that goes wrong. So it's just finding a decent power supply and they're good to go. So yeah, really chuffed to get that. And he also fixed my monitor for my Neo Geo cab, so I've got that up and running again. Over to you, dude.
Right, I tell you what I have been doing over Christmas. Martin Deadlock, right? I was trying to get the podcasts in order because they're all over the place on the podcast apps. And he says, he worked out a way of doing it if you change the dates that the podcast was published. So the podcast feed... So I changed all the older ones, so like 2022, and it works. So the feed starts at 2008 and goes down to 79. I've not uploaded any more than that yet. But that works, and it works on Spotify, it works on Amazon, and it works on a couple of other podcast apps. I think it works on Apple Podcasts. But it doesn't work on all of them. It's weird.
Strange.
Yes, yeah. Some of them are still keeping all that jumbled mess. So I don't know what it is. But,
yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, well, it's good to know it works on a few of them, though, because that is so annoying, isn't it? Because you just uploaded your latest podcast and then you want to download the others and it just pushes the latest one back to the back of the queue, which is really annoying.
Yeah. I've fixed the RSS feed. If you look at it, it's fixed, like from 208 down to 79. So these podcast apps are not picking it. Podcast Addict is the biggest one on Android, and that's just not picking it up. It's putting the new ones on. It's just leaving a mess behind it. So I don't know.
Yeah.
A couple of other things. We had a discussion. Deadlock again made some lovely AI pictures for our for our podcast.
Yeah.
And you had a look at them, and Vic had a look at them. I thought they were like quite quirky and fun. You could tell they're AI, but you weren't pleased, were you?
Well, you sent them to me, and you got Vic's opinion. He wasn't so happy on them, and I had to agree with Vic. I just think they looked, just generic AI stuff that you see everywhere. A bit like that Dungeons and Dragons cap, it just you could tell straight away. And I think you're better off just, even if it's not so good, still doing your own thing. At least it's got your hands to it,
Yeah. And one last
but
thing.
I appreciate his intentions were good.
Yeah, I've put them on the webpage anyway. Images.
Yeah.
10pencearcade.com/p/images. There's some of them there, so you can have a look at them. And all right, we'll get onto the main bit in a bit, won't we? I went down to help Mr. Happy Dude with his new games room, which is like a new sort of outhouse. It's kind of like an outhouse, a bit at the end of his shed. So
I've got.
Yeah. So we're moving all his stuff, and he's got an asteroids and a centipede. They're big heavy buggers, and then like a couple of candies and a Woody, and what else? A big massive screen. Oh, three. You know what? One of them big wide things that you can play Darius Burst on, and Darius. One of them massive wide, like 48 stretch thing. So I was playing.
Fantastic.
I was playing the original Darius on that. It looked amazing.
That's cool. Yeah. It sounds like he's got a cool games room. He should send some pictures in.
Yeah, he's going to when he's finished. That reminds me. Send your pictures in, kids. We've got one. We've got some from, who was it? Aid Skyways sent some, and James Wisemid sent some just on Twitter. Just get a really good photo of your games room, just a one shot, as best you can, and send it to biscuits at 10pencearcade.com, and I will look at it, and then we can talk about it on the show.
Yeah, we'll zoom right in.
Yeah.
On all the little curiosities. Yeah, no, that's cool. I always love seeing the games room. Well, I do, because I do the game room tours, so it's always cool to see how other people collect. And as I said on my latest game room, there is no right or wrong way to collect or have a games room. In fact, the more personalised it is, the better. The more curated, the better. I think some of these games rooms try to cram so much in, it kind of loses the bit of the personality of the person who created it in the first place. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think less is more sometimes.
Right, going on to arcade news.
Arcade news.
Oh yeah, arcade news.
Pac-Man Kids new toy pinball. Another Pac-Man license. It's a toy pinball. It looks quite cool. It's only a little tiny thing. You can have a look at that in the no shows.
That looked like it would have been a good Christmas little stocking filler.
Yeah, I don't think they're much, like $50-$60 I think they were.
Yeah.
I can't click on it, so I lose my notes. Oh, this is good. I like this. I like it. Every so often, Adam Pratt from Arcade Heroes does a feature on his Arcade Heroes website, and it's this one is with a new year you're likely to come across an anniversary or two, but I like doing games that were released 50, 40, 25 and 10 years ago. Guaranteed to make you feel old. It's really good in his arcade history. So I love looking at these. Like there's 1975, right? That is 45 years ago, I think, 50 years ago. Anti-Aircraft, Avenger, Bullet Mark, Crashing Squad, Destruction Derby. All really Gunfight, 1975. Is that right? It is, isn't it?
Yeah. I think no, I thought it was 78. No, yeah, you're right. 70. Yeah. No, Gunfight. What, the electrical mechanical one or the
first?
No, it would have been the Midway one, wouldn't it? So yeah, 75 right.
Midway, yeah. Highway, yeah. So it goes on to that 85 now, and we've got Armored Scrum Object. There's loads in 85. Choplifter.
85 was a great year, wasn't it? I loved 85.
XX's God, I can't speak a bit like it's like Gauntlet, Ghosts and Goblins, 85 Gradius, a great year. Green Beret, Gunsmoke, Space Harrier. No, it's going up to 2000. I don't know if we know any of these. Right. 1944, the Loot Master, that was 2000. Oh, nice. Big Buck Hunter. They're massive in America, them Buck Hunters games, aren't they?
Yeah, I've got a mate who loves that game.
Capcom versus SNK. The fighters are still going. They're Cruising Exotica, and another one of the Cruising at USA thing. Dead or Alive's are about. Gauntlet
Demon Front. Demon Front was 2000, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah.
Played that.
2002, was it? Mars Matrix, that is one bonkers shoot 'em up. More fighters, Power Stone. I think that's it, yeah. So he does, every so often he'll come up with these lists and he puts it in a video, so the video is about 2 hours long, so that's good. As a link in the no shows for that.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, what about Vic's Substack?
Oh, sorry, yeah.
You got that?
Vic's is shooting away doing his Substack. The latest one, this is really interesting, is modding a 1979 Japanese Breakout and Pinball console. A really cute, really cute little red thing. And it was RF and he's turned it into composite. So that's a really good read, that. I read that one, Vic, all of it.
I read it too.
Even the technical stuff.
I used to have... in fact, I was talking to him today about it because I was thinking about getting a little 5-inch colour TV just for a little Pong console. And some of these colour 5-inch TVs have composite, so I'm going to look into getting one of those block games again, and maybe he can mod it for me. That'd be really cool. Yeah, he's done a great job there. It's a lovely little thing, that very similar to the Nintendo one that I had. Very cool.
Pickups.
Podcast pickups.
What have you picked up, my friend? I've picked up nothing as normal.
No, you got nothing there.
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Lots of chocolate from Christmas. Still here.
Lots of chocolate. Yeah. Well, I got finally, because I didn't talk about this last time. We were anticipating it. The new Neo Geo game from Full Set called Project Neon, which I did do a video on my YouTube channel. I was really, really pleased with it, actually. It's a really good game. Really addictive, thumping soundtrack. It's a vertical shooter, but what they've done is something quite unusual. That you can rotate it to play in a Neo Geo cab. I always find it's really difficult to explain, because most people think, it's a vertical and a horizontal. But to do that, they've had to rotate the scores. So the scores sit at the top of the screen, but the actual game still plays in vertical mode, but it's in horizontal, if you know what I mean. Does that make sense?
No, sorry.
Not
mate.
really. No. Well, all Neo Geo games are in a horizontal screen, aren't they?
Yeah.
All the shooters are wide, aren't they? Yeah. On a wide horizontal screen, like 1945 Strikers. It's not a vertical shooter, even though you're still going up. It's on a wide horizontal screen. Do you see what I mean? But so what they've done, because you can play in vertical mode and horizontal mode, they've had to just flip the score and everything so it's on top. But all the graphics are still kind of in vertical mode, but they've been... I'm not making any sense whatsoever. just leave it there. Go and watch my video. It'll all make sense.
Yeah, I've not watched it yet.
Game. It's a really cool game. It's funny because I did 2 runs on that. I did about 20 runs, but the run I really wanted to... the run I really did well on, I got to the 3rd level, end of the 3rd level boss, and I got an amazing score of 600 and something thousand. And I thought, this is great. It's going to be a great video. And then I looked at my camera and it wasn't recording. I was absolutely gutted. So I had to do another run, which I was really annoyed about. Oh. But still, great game. Really, really chuffed with it. So, that was one of my pickups. I got a Rolling Thunder 2 on the Mega Drive. I've been wanting to get that for ages.
Is it good?
I got the Japanese version. Huh?
Is it good?
It's really good. I like Rolling Thunder. I like run and gun games.
Yeah.
That's my favourite genre, is run and gun games. I love them. It's difficult, but I like that. It's got fantastic music, really cool graphics, just a cool game. So yeah, that was great to get on the Japanese Mega Drive. And vinyl, I got some really cool vinyl, Shaun, just before Christmas, and they're all arcade related. So I've got Shinobi. Look at that.
Oh, wow.
The soundtrack to Revenge of Shinobi.
On vinyl.
Isn't that awesome? Really cool. All in Japanese as well. Super Hang On. I love this. I love the soundtrack to Super Hang On.
Yeah, it is good, isn't it?
I used to own the game. Really love this game. And I got Golden Axe 1 and 2. Again, iconic soundtrack. Streets of Rage. Is it just Streets of Rage 2? I think it's Streets of Rage 1, 2 and 3. But it's got all the soundtrack music from those games.
Yeah.
This is from Data Discs. They do all this arcade vinyl.
So you had to import it, have you?
No, I found it on eBay. Bloke was selling it on eBay.
Ah.
And I just took just put a cheeky bid on, and I won it all for Christmas. Really reasonable as well. But this is my favourite out of the lot because it's got like a hologram cover.
Oh,
so if you move the vinyl about, you can see it's moving.
Yeah.
This is Space
I can see it on camera. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Space Harrier.
Yeah.
And this is my favourite one out of the bunch. I love the soundtrack to this. So cool. So yeah, I've been, as you know, I've been collecting my vinyl. Absolutely love that. So it's nice to have some arcade music in here. So yeah, really chuffed for those pickups.
Nice.
Friendly shout-outs.
Shout out. So I'm going to give a shout out to Retro Russ for being our official podcast image creator. He's done the Olly Alpha one. He's done the Spelunker. And he's done Vapor Trail as well. And I said, because he loves doing it, I said, you can go back and do the others if you want. Because I can't change the MP3s that are uploaded already because the 10 pence image is embedded in the MP3 code, if you will. So if he wants, he can go back and do the others because there's only 8.
Oh, Retro Russ. Well done, Russ. Appreciate that.
He's great. And also Martin Deadlock for being a massive help in me getting the podcasts in descending numerical order, which is working on some podcasts and not others. But I know that my RSS feed is correct. So they are not, I don't know if they're not uploading the when you put a podcast out, the RSS feed updates, and then all the apps go and grab that that episode and then publish it. But some of them are just leaving all the rubbish well, not the rubbish, just the bad order of it all.
Yeah, it's not good, is it, mate?
Yeah, it's weird, but it is correct. Yeah. Hopefully they'll in time their feed will catch up and sort it out.
Yeah. Martin Deadlock.
Oh yeah, he's helped me in the podcast order one. That was that one.
Yeah. So it's me.
Yeah, go on.
So just want to give a shout out to Paul Buller for coming over and helping me with my BitKit 2. Really appreciate that, Paul. You do so much for me, mate. Hopefully I can repay you and come over and do some building work on your house. Adrian Purser, huge shout out to him for coming over and helping me go through all these PCBs, and he also gave me his spare test rig as well. So I've got my own test rig now. I can test all my PCBs.
Oh, brilliant!
On my CRT. So huge thank you to Adrian. Mark Whiting, again, absolute genius for helping me fix my Neon and my monitor for the Neo Geo cab. And Vic, I'm going to give a shout out to Vic. Because he sent me a link to Checkman, which was a very interesting podcast you did with Vic. I don't know how long ago that it was. Was it a couple of years ago?
I don't know. I have to have a look. Not too long.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. I was listening to today on my journey down to Marks to pick up the monitor. So yeah, I'm going to check that game out. It looks very interesting. So yeah, thanks guys. Thanks for everything.
Listener feedback.
Right, should do feedback. Should do one each.
Yeah.
Sounds like a plan. Right, first, loads of feedback here. Brilliant. Thank you, everybody. We're getting it on YouTube as well now, aren't we? Getting feedback off YouTube.
Yeah.
Off the website. Matt Neo MK, Happy New Year, Shaun. Sorry to hear about your angina diagnosis, but fantastic news. You have it under control. I wish you all the best. Hopefully catch up later this year at a retro arcade event with you both. Apologies, I had to completely step away from the whole arcade scene in the middle of 24 due to a health issue with my mum, who sadly passed away at the end of August. Oh, sorry, mate. Combine this with work upheaval and I had no time to play games. In 2025, looking back to get into the scene after a tough year. All the best, and I hope 10 Pence version 2 goes from strength to strength. Thank you, mate.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you. Adam Flint. Early thoughts on Vapor Trail, sent on the 23rd of December. He says, I like how a high score table also records the stage reached, your playing time for that score, and which aircraft you choose. Personally, I like a big slow one. Oh, yeah. With the most firepower to shoot things right at fierce.
He inspired me to try that slow one, and I carried on with it because when you get a couple of speed ups, it's absolutely brilliant, that ship. Right, Jason J.
Sorry, is that the first one? Is that the first ship from the list? The second one down, isn't it? This big slow one.
I don't know.
Sure
it goes on like a conveyor belt thing, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Jason J. Ping Barber, Happy New Year. Thank you for all your hard work entertaining us Arcadians. Where else would we go for help and opinions on bricklaying, biscuits, and 80s and 90s music all mixed into one? This podcast does exactly what it says on the tin. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you. We got the Paul Driscoll. He's sent us a link to the Retro Realm. And he says, calling all retro rubbers, this place is fantastic. This is Craig Turner's new arcade venture.
Yeah, I think it's down in Warsaw somewhere. Yeah, we'll have to go. It looks good.
Looks good, yeah.
Tony, DJ Rouge, the Olly Alpha 1 interview was my favourite episode ever. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, we haven't talked about that. I mean, that was something we've been talking about all last year, wasn't it, doing? Really enjoyed that. In fact, we're going to try and do more of that. Well, at least get 2 or 3 in a year if we can. So I mean, guys, if you've got any stories or any trips you've been on or something interesting, or you've worked in the industry, we'd love to have you on and have a chat with you. It'd be great. You know,
would be brilliant.
We've got John Retro Loader. Loved Spelunker 1 and 2 in the arcade. Nice to see the review.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
You're on your own there, mate.
Retro Import Gamer. I bought the Famicom version of Spelunker a while back. Remember trying it, but can't recall anything about it. Listening to your podcast and your description, I can understand why. It's terrible. It sounds terrible. Going to have to try it again now, just to see how awful it is. And another great episode. Chaps, thank you.
Cheers, James. Alex, U-Star Gamer, just listened to this on my way home from London. Thanks for getting me through one of the longest drives I've done in a while. Really enjoyed this, guys. Thanks, Alex.
Retro Ed UK, first time listening to the podcast, just done an early Prezi exchange, and this episode accompanied me on the trip. Great format and fab to hear so much packed in, and even pick up some vinyl talk. Arcade Club sounded a blast too. About to download some episodes from the back catalogue. Merry Crimbo.
Cheers, Ed. Otto Branham, or Braham. Nice, Alex. Glad you got a cocktail table. I stumbled upon a Defender and Tron, and I can't tell you how much I enjoy them. Yes, I use the Tron table as table sometimes. Cheers, mate. Yeah, I mean, this Mooncrester is actually on loan at the moment. I just wanted to see if it would fit in my room, and it does work for a brilliant desk. In fact, I'm doing the podcast off it right now. But I do intend to get something a bit different, because Mooncrest is okay, but it's still not my favourite game I'd have in a cocktail. I definitely fancy a Tron though. That would be cool.
Can you get Macros kit in that with a Mooncrester and all the variants on it?
Is there? I don't know. I didn't know about that.
I think it's a really old one, but I remember seeing it in Arcade Club, and it had Mooncrester and PICS and them weird kind of the end and that kind of thing on it.
Oh, right. Yeah, I don't know about that. To be honest with you, I quite fancy having a Nintendo cocktail back. I quite fancy having a Space Firebird again, because I've got a lot of nostalgia for that game. I used to play that as a kid, and I think it is one of Nintendo's best games of that era, of that time. So I wouldn't mind getting that back.
We've got have you done that one? Yeah, we've got Retro Import Gamer again. That was both fascinating and fantastic to listen to, Alex. The chat between the three of you was brilliant. Oh, that was the Olly one, isn't it? Find this king of thing really interesting. Find this king of thing really interesting, where things get left to ruin and are discovered. Thank goodness all this amazing stuff got saved. Thank you, mate.
David Southall 6090. This was such a great episode. Could listen to arcade tales and raid stories forever. This podcast has been even more utterly fantastic since the version 2 incarnation. Absolutely fantastic all.
Oh, yes. Woo!
Ooh.
Right. Retro fun for everyone. That's him. He wants retro fun for everyone. Not just you and me. Everyone.
Everyone. You can't have it for everyone.
What a lovely chap. Amazing episode.
Got things to do.
Amazing episode and mesmerising. Listen, made my drive to work seem like it lasted minutes. Loved it.
Oh, Jump in general. All the best, guys. I enjoyed listening. Super channel. Keep more videos coming.
Ooh. I've not heard of half of these people. Have you? Do you know them?
Well, these are all people that listen to it on the YouTube channel. So 400 people have listened to it on my channel, which is amazing.
That's good. Peter Richard, awesome interview this one. That French raid was legendary. Happy New Year.
Gashpan, shout out to Olly. I was going to the same arcades as him and around the same time period too, e.g. Clarence Parade at Southsea. Also remember the specific Sega hologram machine placed right at the front at Clarence Arcade. I think it was £1 a go back then, which was a lot. It's a small world, great podcast and interesting stories. Cheers, guys.
And talking about Olly, he just recently found a Duke of Lancaster birthing video, an old black and white kind of video. I think it's black and white. Yeah, so put that in the show notes.
Yeah.
Biscuit review, I learned about you, biscuit review.
Biscuit review. I don't know if this is a biscuit or what. This is spotted by Sol. M&S they've accused of stealing a giant custard cream in an Easter egg. I've not had it. An outrageously chocolatey custard cream biscuity egg. So it's an Easter egg with custard cream innards, I think. I went to try and find one, but there weren't one there.
The best chocolate is Easter eggs, isn't it?
Yeah, somehow. How do they do it? It's just amazing.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just love, I don't know, something about breaking an Easter egg up and having all that the chocolate shell of it at the bottom of the egg and just nicking the kids' bits of it without them knowing. Always go into the kids' chocolate eggs and nick their chocolate. And because it's all hidden at the bottom, they don't know I've taken any. But yeah, that does look interesting.
Yes, we'll have I'll try and find it. It'll be back again before Easter. They're advertising Easter stuff on the 2nd of January, aren't they, God?
Oh, God, yeah. It's all year round now, isn't it?
Mm.
Feature game review.
Right. Featured game review.
Right, this is your pick. Have a do at it, mate. Go on. I forgot about
Have
this.
it all, have it, sir.
Have it, lad.
Paper Trail. Oh, my God. Released in 1989. What a year. What a year. Can you remember 1989, Shaun?
I was 19.
What were you listening to?
Me? I was struggling, and I remembered that I loved 808 State, and they released an album which I loved it, and I forgot all about it.
Yeah,
December.
I remember that. Yeah.
December 89, 808 State, 808 90, full album. I've listened to it twice today, once on the way to work and once on the way back. And
what was the standout track on that? Because I think I remember it.
It's Pacific State. The and it got these birds in it. That's the standout track. Everyone will recognise it from that.
I do remember it. I wasn't into it, but I know it because it was being played everywhere at the time.
It's a standout out. It's brilliant. It's kind of... You had house music from Chicago and you had techno music from Detroit. And this kind of mixes it up a bit more on the techno side. And I've listened to it twice, and it does sound slightly dated with the break beats and stuff, but it's still very good. Still stands up a bit, yeah. Classic.
And does that take you back? Because the whole point of this music section is for me, music is like a time machine. It takes you back to that time and jogs memories. Does it jog a memory of 1989 for you, what you were playing back then?
89, 19... What was I playing?
Because I'd left school. I left school in 87, so 2 years I'd left school. I think I was just starting to grow my hair. So I've got out of New Wave, and I was just starting to. Well, I know I was getting to rock the year before, but I was sort of coming into my own. I knew what I was into. So the music that I was listening to right then was just the start. You could just see little signs of grunge. So Nirvana released Bleach, although I never listened to that album, that debut album. It was Nevermind that was the big album that changed their music thereafter. But there were little hints of grunge with 9 Inch Nails, which was a very industrial sound rock, which I loved. And the clubs, I used to go a lot of heavy rock clubs. And at that time when I left school, it was all kind of glam and that kind of, shall I say, cock rock, we call it. The big hair bands, you know what I mean? And the makeup.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff. So I was listening to Motley Crue, and they released Dr. Feelgood that year, which was a good album. White Snake's Slip of the Tongue, and that was the album they got Steve Vai on. There's a few good tracks on there. I quite like it, but it wasn't. Yeah, it's still cock rock. But there is some good tracks on it. And Tom Petty, Full Moon Fever, which is an absolute classic track, classic album. I absolutely love Tom Petty. He is sadly missed. I really do miss him. He made some great music. And The Cult. I was listening to The Cult's Sonic Temple, which I think was produced by Rick Rubin. I mean, he produced some huge bands back at that time. So some big albums that year, some really big albums, but it was just the start of grunge. You just started hearing bits of it coming through. You know, there was starting to be a big change in music. So, yeah, it was quite an interesting year, but I don't remember that many games from this year. So, again, I probably got out the arcade at this time.
89, yeah, I think I did. I was more into computers. What computer did I have in 89? I was probably still hanging on to my Amiga, you know, because I had a Commodore 64 for ages, and then an Amiga, and then I think I said before, me and my brother shared a Mega Drive. That was about that time. What year was that?
No, that's too early for the Mega Drive.
Is it? 89?
Yeah. You would have had the NES and the Master System.
Oh, no, maybe
I don't
not
think
then.
the Mega Drive was released till 1990 or 91. I'm pretty sure. I didn't get my SNES until 91 or 92 because I jumped from Spectrum to the SNES. I didn't have anything in between, so that was a huge jump for me. You know, in technology. But yeah, great year. And that year, Data East released Vapor Trail.
Well, can I just interrupt? Sorry, I've realised listening to these old tracks, I've realised I used to listen to it in my bedroom, crappy old speakers, crappy Walkman, crappy headphones, and now we've got so much more fidelity in like the earbuds and that. I listen to it in my car. It sounds like this 808 State sounds so much better. There's details in it that I've never heard because I had vinyl and I had cassette. I didn't even have CDs until like early 90s, me. And the some of my favourite albums, I can now hear the details.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you had crappy speakers and crappy everything.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, vinyl is good today. It's come a long way, and there's some great turntables. And mine's a pretty good one. It's a Rode Tech, which I think's an English make. But back then, like you say, we had Sony Walkmans with really crappy headphones. Remember the little orange spun muffles?
Yeah.
Sponges. And you treated them like, well, you didn't have much respect for them, did you?
Yeah.
You used to throw them about all over the place. They got used a lot, a hell of a lot. And I guess you had cassettes, so you didn't really... Cassettes were cheaper than buying vinyl, so more than likely I would have bought cassettes. So the quality wasn't great. So you're right. You know, you hear things today, and there's so much more to the record, isn't there? You didn't notice back in the day.
Yeah. It's weird, just little bits. There's a song, Spooky Gargantuan is one of my favourite albums. I don't know if anyone's there. And there's a song called Aqualung, and it goes breathing liquid. And then it goes deep down. I've never heard the deep down bit until very recently, getting like a really decent pair of headphones and a decent car stereo. Yeah. And he says deep down, breathing liquid, deep down. I'd never heard of deep down.
Sounds like you were hypnotised.
It was. It's great. Absolutely fantastic. Right, we need to stop talking about music. I know it's great.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Vapor Trail, Data East, 1989. It's a shooter. It's a vertical shooter. Uses an 8-way stick and 2 buttons, fire and barrel roll. And you can pick at the starting screen when you coin up from 3 different fighter jets. The Valkyrie, which is an attacker with low speed. The Selene, I think that's how you pronounce it, fighter with high speed. And the Sylph, which is another fighter, but it's got more of an attacking...
it's a mixture of the two, I think,
Yeah. Which is great. It's got a great intro to this game. Very cinematic, I thought. With a kind of manga, anime feel to it. A little bit like Strikers or... sorry, not Strikers, Aero Fighters on the Neo Geo's got that anime feel to it. Almost like it's telling a cinematic story, which was quite cool. So nice introduction, which I really did like. It's got 6 levels of frantic shooting. Not that I saw most of those. Graphics, as I said, very cinematic. Gives you a bit of a plot. So I think the plot is basically, I mean, who cares about the plot really? But I think the aliens have taken over the world, isn't that? And we're trying to defend it. That's what the normal guff is.
I think we're running out of aliens. We're killing them all, aren't we? No wonder we've not seen any like alien attacks or anything in the sky lately, because we killed them all in the 80s.
Yeah, exactly.
Shot them all in the face.
But the sounds, I struggled with the sounds to begin with because I've actually got the original PCB that I picked up with that lot that I bought, and I was really excited about plugging this PCB in. The game played fine, but the sound was all glitchy. And it was all garbled, and it was unplayable with the sound, so I had to turn the volume right down. But then I did play it on a Pi on my I've got a little Pi set up on my Sony Trinity, and I played it on there, but again, because it's in horizontal mode, I couldn't see the full screen, so I had to go back to playing on the Jammer Cab without the sound. But what I did hear and what I did play, it's got a lot of sound effects, a lot of sampled sounds, it seems. Would you agree, Shaun? And I actually struggled to hear the sound effects over the sampled sound effects. A lot of music.
I looked at the ROM and it's 1.5 meg. So that's tiny.
Wow.
That's zipped, so it could
Yeah.
be like 4 meg. So what do they get? What sounds have they sampled? Because a sample could be 2 meg on its own. So I
Right.
don't know if it's all just synthesized guitars and stuff. If it is, they've done a damn good job.
Yeah, well, it's not chip tunes, is it? It's got to be sample tunes. It's got to be. Because it's like heavy rock music,
Yeah, must
which
be.
I thought was cool. I mean, I like it. It adds atmosphere to the game. I thought the whole presentation was awesome, to be honest with you. It got you right into it. So, yeah, I thought it was a pretty solid shooter.
You can take 2 hits per life. That's another thing. So that was good. And then when you get the power, you can shoot a couple of power up bits, and then your third one I think is your main power. So the one I like, the slow one, was like 2 fireballs that was shooting to the distance. One other was these little arrows that spin out in all 4 directions. So that's good to get. And what was the other one? That was.
It was like a jet of fire that went up. 2 jets. Was that the one you were on about? I think that was I always chose the middle one, which was the Celine, which looked quite a bulky ship. But once you powered it right up, I found it the most effective.
Oh, that's it. The V-shaped
Yeah.
arced bullets. Yeah, they were really effective. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. And I like the fact that you could roll, but timing that was quite difficult, rolling out of enemy fire. I could never get that right. Always crashed or died.
And then
Or left it to the last minute.
Then you lose your power up if you roll. You lose your first
Yeah.
big power up. So it's a bit of a risk.
Did you use the roll much?
A bit, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, solid game. It also got a port on the Genesis in 1991, so it must have been quite an early game for the Sega Mega Drive. And the game is part of a 3-part series. Vapor Trail. Is that Roga?
Roga, something like that, isn't it?
Roga, Armored Force, and Skullfang.
I have played Skullfang. I've not played that middle one.
Roga's a little bit like Cybernator on the Super Nintendo, I think. You're in a kind of like a mech. You're a mech warrior, sort of run and gun type thing. It looks pretty cool, actually. I need to play that.
But what do you think of the graphics anyway? I quite liked them. They're like,
Yeah, I did. I like the anime, the manga style graphics. I thought it was really cool. Yeah, I like the game.
Yeah, varied backgrounds. Well, you've got your standards, haven't you? Like air, sea, spaceship, inside the spaceship. Did you see the big end boss, big grey massive ship plane? That takes ages to kill, and then it splits off into like a thinner one.
There was like a spider thing, wasn't there? Was that a mid-level boss at the beginning? Like a spider robot thing, and then you had the aircraft carrier, which is the one I struggled to get off. I really struggled to get off that level. There was just so much going on. And I think it's one of those games where you have to be completely powered up when you get to that point in the game, because you don't last very long. In fact, thinking about it, I could have done with that third ship, the Sliff, is it? That fires downwards, because the aircraft carrier starts scrolling upwards. Yeah, and you've almost got to manoeuvre down to get underneath it to kill it. Yeah. But if you've got a ship that fires down, you don't need to do that manoeuvre. So I need to go back and play it with that third ship and see if I get any further. It's just trial and error. It's just about putting time in and just seeing what ship works best.
Yeah, you get your specials, and then you get the other sort of weapons. There's missiles. There's a defender that homes in. There's more spray and more bullets. There's a bomb one. Have you seen that big hefty bombs that come out?
Yeah.
Out of his shit. There's loads of extra bits apart from your specials.
Yeah. The little tanks I found the most annoying out of all of them, because when they go, if you don't get them all, and you've got one that's sort of creeping down the side of the screen, he'll always end up getting you because they shoot up when you least expect it.
The turrets, like that other game we played, the turrets find you, they're pointing to you. They always home in the turrets of the tank, so you know they're going to shoot at you, so you got to move out of the way. Right, yeah, so I quite like that. How many... Oh, actually, we're going to do scores first, and then how many
Scores
tens.
first, yeah.
Right.
High score countdown.
Quite a few players, thank you very much. Right, Dr... What's that? Glog? Dr. Glog?
Dr. Glog. No, it's not Glog, because there's no L there. It's got Dr. Goo. No, Dr. I don't know. Dr. Googles.
Got Dr. Goggles. No, sorry, mate. 1 point. 38. 38,950. Shaun and Alex, Happy New Year. Just a quick one this month. January has been very busy. Just managed to grab a few minutes on Vapor Trail before the deadline. Unfortunately, I didn't get past the first boss, so only 38,950. Hope to put more time into next month's game. We hope so too.
We've got Basil the Sane. 1 point with 111,880. Decent shooter. Nice graphics and sound, if slightly generic. Not really my forte, but pulled me back in a few times for just one more go. Difficulty level on this type of game normally kills it for me, but this one was just on the cusp.
Ooh. Retro Russ, our official podcast logo creator.
He's a member. He's part of the crew now.
He is now. 115,460. Yeah, it's okay. I'm not massively into shmups, but quite enjoyed it. It was better than I thought.
Yeah. Stacey King, 1 point with 131,160. I had been playing Vapor Trail on my little handheld, but the constant button pressing caused me to jostle it about too much, distracting me from focusing on the screen. So I had a quick game on my PC and scored 131,000. Well done.
Well done, mate.
Yeah, they're difficult to play on small screens.
Okay. Yeah. Mark, what no gravy? 137,200.
Chris K. June.
K.
1
June. It's gone.
1 point for 186,520.
1 punch run. 191,560.
Grey Bags. 1 point with 197,190.
Old Man Steve, he's so old, he's Old Man Steve. 1 point, we'll get into the points after this in a bit. 202,190.
He is Jimmy, 1 point with 207,970. Pretty average shooter. Not terrible, not great. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Paul McCaskey, good to see you back, mate. 215,060 points. And who's this cheeky scamp? Who's this cheeky scamp? You cheeky scamp.
The old owl boy. Got 1 point, 215,770. Oh, I just couldn't get past that aircraft carrier.
All these points are within like 20,000.
Yeah.
I think everyone's getting to that bit, aren't they? Salbug, 217,340. I only played this game once or twice, so got a good score for that. Sorry, not my cup of tea. Looking forward to the next one. Happy New Year to you and all the 10 pence gang.
Zestora, 1 point with 218,390.
Me, 1 point, 224,400.
James Wise Mids, 1 point with 229,060. Finally made it past the damn aircraft carrier onto level 3. Okay. Here we are, past the aircraft carrier now, Shaun.
Mitsuyama, Stephen Bell, 248,110.
Ross, 1 point, 248,140. Took me a while deciding the attacker class was way the best for my playstyle. The soundtrack is the best thing about this shooter. When that electric guitar kicks in, oof, enjoyable, but ultimately quite forgettable. So there is so many similar ones at this time. Yeah, I agree.
I suppose there's a lot of shooters, weren't there, at the end of the 80s, sorry. Eastwood 71, 2 points now, 255,740.
Retro Rex, 3 points with 256,300.
Adam Flint, 4 points with 282,200. Hi, Shaun and Alex. I'm now submitting my high scores via the Arcade Psychic app and the leaderboard, which is attached my Vapor Trail high score. You will notice I only managed to get past on that land carrier boss and onto the third level 3 times. Still did well there. Feedback from Adam. Oh yes, there's more feedback. You should promote your 10 pence arcade club on the Arcade Psychic more often. I do put some messages on, like check out our check out our new game. And if you're a member of the club on the app, you'll have a little dot on the messages on the messages thing.
Check that out.
I'm a late joiner. It's got me playing the game so much more this month. It's so addictive seeing the other scores get posted and thinking I'm only a few thousand points away from climbing a place or two. Thank you, Adam.
Yeah, well, that is the whole point, and that is what I love about arcade games, is the score chasing. That's what it's all about, isn't it?
It is, isn't it?
MM Beanie, 5 points with 299,090. Love this little shmup. Game felt like it was saying...
Saying it at the bottom.
Doesn't make sense.
You've played that long enough now, that's the game saying it to you.
I see. The game felt like it was saying at the boss level 2, you've played the game too long now. Yeah, keep up the good work, lad. Sorry, I misread that.
Mr. Messi, we're in the points now. 6 points, 312,940. I should love this vertical shooter with no bullet hell silliness. However, I find it just a bit too dull to keep going. It's a bit like eating... It's a bit like eating a pack of ginger nuts in that respect. I'm going to say 7 out of 10, but perhaps better enjoyed when dipped into your tea.
Oh,
Do you find that with ginger nuts? You get a pack and then you eat half of them and you're bored of them. You don't find that?
I haven't had ginger nuts for quite... I do like ginger. I have ginger beer. I drink that a lot in the summer especially. And I know it's very good for indigestion and your stomach. So I do eat ginger quite a lot. Ginger cake's my favourite.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, you know I'm a cake guy more than a biscuit guy.
Yeah.
So I mean, Nan used to make me ginger cake and custard.
Oh,
and
nice.
she used to put so many tablespoons of sugar in the custard, and she left it so long there'd be a thick skin on the custard, and I used to love that.
Oh, God, yeah, my nan used to do that.
Red 7, my good friend Nick, he's from Dubai, you know.
Is he?
He's playing this in Dubai, yeah, he lives in Dubai. He's got a YouTube channel. Check him out, guys, Red 7, because his YouTube channel is all arcade PCB pickups, and he's a really lovely guy. He does good reviews on his channel about arcade games, some really obscure stuff as well. I really like his channel. He really went for it. He got 7 points with 345,690. Well done, Nick.
You're into the massive points now. Aid Skyway 73. He showed us a picture of his games room. That's on the website.
Yeah.
8 points with 352,090. My final effort in Vapor Trail. A solid shooter, but there's definitely better ones. It could do with more sound effects. Can't really hear them over the rocking music. Don't matter. I don't like the way it suddenly gets difficult either. It does, doesn't it? When you get to that carrier, it really ramps up. And he posted a clip of Michael Knight Rider saying, "You're never too old for video games." That's Michael Knight getting into the car and playing, like, it looks like an Intellivision game on kits, you know, the little robot.
Well, he actually did that in a series, an episode. Oh, I never saw that.
On kits, you know, the little computer his mate. He says, "You're never too old for video games." Whoa, you know.
Oh, Rygar, second place with 9 points, 386,570. With a bit more testing, Vapor Trail could have been a good game. They've got the graphics and sound dialed in pretty well, but the difficulty curve is weird, and why there are no end of level bosses. I thought there is end of level bosses. I don't know what he means there. The aircraft carrier is an end of level boss, isn't it? It's a stage boss.
I suppose
I'm not quite sure what he means there.
I suppose you kill it and then carry on a bit and then get.
I suppose it's not a boss. It's like it's loads of ships coming off an aircraft carrier. I guess that's what he means. You just shoot. You're just trying to get past that stage. I see what you mean there. But there was a boss earlier on. Anyway, yeah, good score, mate. And yeah, I agree with you about
386,570. Yeah. And in first place, Mr. Berserker. He didn't play a bit last year because he was playing a different league. 10 points with 471,210. I gave it one last shot. It just gets harder. Didn't reach round 5. No one reached round 3, mate. I didn't. Right.
Yeah.
How many? Right. How many? This is it, Alex. How many 10p's, if you saw this game in 1989, all the girls around and the beer's flowing, and the music's going on in the background, and you see this game.
Snake,
the
Cult, Motley Crue all playing in the background, beer's getting thrown over my shoulder, girls are coming up to chat with me. I would have put 6 10p's back in the day of this game.
Yeah, I would.
It's above average game.
Yeah, I would. 6 will do it, I think.
Would you do the same?
Yeah, 6 10p's.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty good score. You know, it's like you say, it starts off really well, but then the difficulty level just ramps up too much. But I'll definitely go back to it. It's not one I wouldn't play again. I've got the PCB. Would I keep it? Not sure. It's not a classic, is it? But it's not a bad game.
Yeah, I tried to play through it on auto fire just to see the later levels, and then I realised I could just watch YouTube anyway. But
yeah,
right, this is it now, kids. This is what you've been waiting for. I'll put the high score tables on the website. I'll put all these high score tables on the website. So there'll be 10pencearcade.com/p/high scores, something like that. I'll put a link in anyway.
Next show's game.
Right, next show's game is Nibbler.
Oh, that's an oldie. Golden oldie.
We've played Jungler, which was similar. This is Nibbler, 1982 Rock-Ola. You have to have a 4-way stick. You can't wing it. You've got to have a 4-way stick with this. The ROM is Nibbler, Nibbler. That's a default ROM. In brackets, it's revision 9, set 1. So there's loads of revisions of this. But if you go in MAME, this is the default ROM. Right, Lives 3 default. Right, it says on the title screen when you start it, extra life after every 4 screens, but it doesn't mention that in the dip settings. So we've got to think there's an extra life after 4 screens because it says it on the title screen, but we don't know. We'll find out. Difficulty is easy. All of these. Lives 3 easy. ROM difficulty default easy. It's all default. Sorry. Submit your score. Right, you've got another month.
Yeah.
15th of February, Saturday 15th of February, 5 p.m. UK time. Twitter, you can submit. Twitter X, hashtag 10p score, 10p score. Sidekick app in the 10pence club section. Make sure you go in there. Email biscuits@10pencearcade.com. Thank you for people putting the score in there. Facebook, you can go on our Facebook page. People comment, but they don't put the scores in. You can do if you want. UK VAC on the podcast feed. Sometimes people play that. No submissions from console or computer compilations, please, as they may be different. The only exception to this rule is the Evercade systems, because we know they use legit arcade ROMs. And obviously, no continues allowed, kids. Don't continue. You can continue to play through it to see what it's like, but when you're submitting a score, no continues.
Yeah. I mean, you can play the Switch. Arcade ROMs are on the Switch, aren't they? They're from Arcade Archive, so I'd imagine they are the arcade ROMs, so they're okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't think Nibbler's on there. I've never played this game, to be fair. I'm not sure whether I'm going to like it.
It's a bit tactics, and it's I've got a story about Nibbler. I'll save it for next time.
Yeah, okay. Well, another episode done.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great to hang out with you again, Shaun. Thanks for everyone for tuning in to this amazing podcast. We love it, don't we, Shaun? We love doing this.
It's great.
It's a bit of fun. We're doing this quite late tonight, actually. Was it 9 o'clock now? Because I didn't get back from London till late, so...
Have you finished that wall yet?
I haven't started a wall.
All right.
My work's been pretty slacking this month because the weather's been atrocious. It's either freezing cold or pouring with rain. Not good for me because I work outside. So I'm hoping spring is just around the corner and things will pick up, But yeah, it's been fun doing this, mate.
Can you get one of them big umbrellas that you stick on like a hat, like one of them umbrella hats when you work?
You could.
Yeah, you could do that, couldn't you? That'd be all right.
Your work still gets wet. I mean,
Oh.
I create work and I use sand cement, so if that gets wet, it all runs down the side of the wall. Or if it's below 4 degrees, I can't work because there's a certain temperature that the chemical reaction in cement won't happen, and it has to be 4 degrees and rising.
Wow.
If it's anything below that, then you get frost damage. That's why you can see, like, I get calls to go around to see mortar, repointing houses, repointing walls, and you can literally run your finger through the joints because it's either had frost damage or they haven't put enough cement in it. But it's more often than not frost damage because the bricklayer has done it in freezing conditions, which is not good. So, I've been waiting around for the weather to change. But yeah, I do use marquees sometimes. I'll put a marquee up, but then if it's windy, I've had it before where the wind has caught them. This is like a garden marquee.
Yeah.
One of those pop-up marquees, and I've built a wall underneath it, and the wind's caught it, and the whole thing. I was working in Walton, which is at the top of a hill, Weybridge, and the whole marquee blew down the road. Over the top of incoming cars. I nearly had a heart attack, mate, honestly, seeing my marquee roll down the hill.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Did you get it back and finish the job?
I did, but it was ruined. It's just cheap aluminium poles, just buckle and you can't use it again. And you can't just buy the poles, you got to buy the whole thing. So, yeah. That's the sort of things I have to deal with every day, mate, while you're inside in the warm.
Yeah, my brother's a roof tiler. He says sometimes when it's raining outside, he thinks, "Oh, brilliant! I can have a day off."
Well, yeah, there is that. I can catch up with some things,
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully spring's just around the corner, mate. Lovely chatting with you guys. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for all your lovely feedback. We really do appreciate it. Send us some pictures of your games room. We'd love to see that as well. Any questions you want to ask us.
Yeah.
Even if we don't answer them on here, I can answer them on my YouTube channel. So yeah, we always like the interaction and the discussion. So keep it coming. It's great that you're enjoying it.
Right. Thank you very much, kids. We'll catch you next time. Remember, 15th of February, Saturday the 15th of February, for the next show's game, Nibbler.